that I have had the pleasure of being able to be on stage. I share my family. It's why I do what I do. They literally yesterday was like, "What? How long will you be gone?" But this is them, and I got into technology actually at a very young age. My dad was a golden age of science fiction lover, and really raised me well on Bradbury and Asimov. I mean, I think it was 6. And those stories don't end well for a 6-year-old. It was a little challenging, but it was good stuff. I mean, I ended up really thinking of the world, like it didn't seem foreign to me that you would talk to a computer at a young age, right? Like it was the books I was reading, it was the friends that I made, and I was a nerd, so I didn't have a whole lot of real people friends. So my books really were very good companions. Maybe some of you can relate. But in 2013, well, really, my son, Max, he was born with Down syndrome about 16 years ago. And when he was born, a geneticist came up to me and he said, old person, like, I won't say the age in case someone's offended by it, but to me, an aged person. And they said to me, "Oh, I'm really sorry to hear this, and the diagnosis is this. You probably need to put him up for adoption or put him in an institution. The world is just it's not built for people like him. He won't be able to do anything." And I, of course, as a technologist, which I have been my entire life, I took a different path, obviously. And I started looking. If you go and you become my friend on LinkedIn, which I encourage you to do, if you become my friend on LinkedIn, you will find that my journey, my career has been to travel to the best and brightest companies at the right and perfect time to see accessibility become a reality. And it became my mission. And so I created a world where everything I worked on in my day fueled. People are like, "How could you have 4 kids and a technology career?" Well, because I was serving them. I was making sure my family's life got better in every project I was on. So I was a cloud architect when I joined AWS back in 2013, and a little known project known as Alexa was born. And at that time, I don't know if any of you remember these days, but the Fire phone it had just died. Most people were afraid of anything new we were doing at Amazon because they didn't want to be part of the next failed project. And I remember getting an email that they sent to everyone in the company saying, "Anyone want to be on this team?" And I got that email as a training manager at AWS, having no college education. I did not graduate from college, having no specific skill set in AI at all, other than my love of science fiction. I took that email and I said, "I'm totally doing that. I'm doing it." And I went to my manager and I was like, "I'm doing this. I would like to move." And he said, "Oh," he tapped me on the head. "No, you can't do that. You're not technical enough for that." Like, that's natural language. You're a training manager. Needless to say, luckily at Amazon, they like the brave and the bold, and I went and I did it anyway, and it changed the trajectory of my life. Speaking of trajectory, I went on to do things that I never ever thought I would ever do. I ended up getting awards around my work, but here, every single one of these awards I got because I learned by doing. Instead of just reading, in addition to reading, I actually built things. In 2014, I built over 100 skills for Amazon Alexa. At that time, I was building all skills around kindness and mindfulness. Today, you'd be like, "Well, yeah, that's a pretty big category." That category did not exist when I started writing those skills. As a matter of fact, everyone on my team was like, "It's a kitchen device. What are you doing? Like, who does that?" And I found it at that time. I was new. I was literally felt like I'm the imposter, right? I have no classical training in this skill set. But I decided to build them anyway. They ended up hitting the top 20, sat there for years. I have over 1 million unique users of these skills today, and it created an entire category of mindfulness and kindness skills. I even have people who took my exact same code, because everything I do is open source. They took my exact same code and published it as their own skill, and did better than me on the rank. I don't know how they did that. But hopefully, they used it as a baseline to improve on the experience, because I will tell you, I never went back and edited those things. find out that and I've done this multiple times in my career, but specifically in Alexa, that I could learn it, I could do it, and then I could talk about it. And that cycle created a huge opportunity in this space, and it exists today. I will encourage many of you to do the same once we're done here. But I've had a good run. I do remember, however, in 2014, this moment, and I want to share with you, I've never shared this video, or this picture publicly before, but my dad was in a horrific car accident. He was walking across the street in Seattle. I brought him there. He was walking across the street, got hit by a car, somebody was on their phone, wasn't paying attention. He was a pedestrian, broke a bunch of stuff, spine, big old mess. And that was in 2013, 6 months in the ICU, finally he comes home for Christmas. And I give him a device that actually had been in his room the entire time. But I want to show it to you. I'll try not to cry. He sees face. Right? I gave him this device and he was like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been reading about for 40 years. Right? And to this day, we have over 133 devices that are voice enabled in our home, including our microwave and every TV, light sockets, you name it. And his life, granted, he had a traumatic brain injury, you can see, well, barely, but he has 2 holes in his head where they had to get rid of a subdermal hematoma thing. It was bad. He today couldn't use a phone or a computer at all. But because of the technology we are working on and the technology we are adding into experiences, he has a life. He does live with me. I don't know if he has to, but he does live with me. But he is independent. He gets pill reminders. We used to have a cool pill robot that would trigger pills out to him, right? His life completely changed in this year. And it wasn't, I don't know if you remember 2014 for Alexa, it wasn't an awesome year particularly, right? It was more broken than it was fixed. But our kind of charter, the mantle that we have as people in this room is to improve on these experiences. Because the tech is there. I went on from Alexa, I was there 4 years, launched 4 language models successfully, super excited about my journey there. I went to Microsoft. And at Microsoft, I uncovered that it's not just voice. Though when I was at Amazon, I remember Jeff Bezos very specifically saying, Alexa everywhere, voice everywhere. Voice is the only thing. That's it. It's the future. That's all you talk about. And when I got to Microsoft, I realized that yes, voice, super important. My dad can't live without it, but it became a multimodal experience. Voice is one AI model. What happens when I add voice and gesture? What happens when I add voice and gesture and sentiment analysis? What happens when I start combining models today that we, as non-data scientists, we can actually implement, right? We can, as a developer, you can take 100 days of coding on Twitter and learn enough to leverage today's AI models and build incredible solutions. Oh, my dad's calling me right now, telling me, yes, he's telling me not to forget my selfie. I won't. So I always take a selfie at the end of the call, and okay, maybe I'll take it right now just in case I get nervous and forget. So let's do this really quick. Are you ready? All right, you ready, fam? He seriously doesn't realize that I'm like live on stage. All right, you ready? Say cheese. Awesome, thank you. Oh, you guys are great. Fantastic, awesome. Okay.